Are you working? What kind of work do you do?
Welcome back to episode 2 of our virtual rent party. Segment 2, I have a very special guest with me. NaDonte Jones, whom I've known for a number of years, happens to be Black history himself, living, breathing, walking Black history. You are the first and the only Master Plumber in the history of Onondaga County in the city of Syracuse. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, NJ Jones Plumbing?
Company started 2013. I actually got my license the end of that year. I started my company before I even got the license. So, I've been actually doing business since 2014, and just going and growing and building relationships, and revenue has been going crazy. Like basically even through the pandemic, we did so good. We didn't even qualify for the next PPP program for the year. So
now those are kind of problems I like to have. Yeah. And for the folks that don't know, I knew your company since its inception. I knew when you got started. And let's talk about that growth a little bit now. I see your trucks all over the place now. So I remember when it was one van, and now you're up to a number of vans, number of employees. Let's talk about that growth.
So, put it like this. When I first started the business, I went to Empower, got a $3,000 loan, and paid my man to buy his little broke down truck for like $600. And me and actually my brother-in-law, who was my first helper, we did it, just me and him, for about a year or so. And slowly but surely, like I said, started building those relationships. Again, for one, nobody really believed there was actually a legit Black Master Plumber in the town. So just getting the word out. After that, hired on a few more journeymen. Soon enough, our revenue started going at a rate of 100 to 300% each year, going up. And right now we're at, I think, I'm actually getting the 5th vehicle this year. Looking to build our headquarters. Currently have about 25 employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the impact that your MWBE certification has had directly on your business?
Directly on my business, that growth never, I won't say never, because, and I tell people, I don't want you to hire me because I'm an MBE. I want you to hire me because I'm a plumber, a good plumber, professional, and good at what I do. But at the same time, I'll take a leg up, From currently the school projects, we're currently on 3 different school projects right now. SUNY, working with even my start, where we met, home headquarters, These people that get that government funding or state funding, whatever, there's mandates for minority participation. And that's where,
And so you've been able to capitalize on a few of those opportunities. Why don't you tell us about your first major opportunity with the MWBE? I remember you being involved with the Price Right project on South Avenue. And, the feedback that I've gotten from there, Dave Nutting, the owner of VIP, swears by you as literally the best plumber that he's worked with, bar none, irrespective of race. He tells me that all the time. So why don't you tell us about that project and how instrumental that's been in getting you a start?
Yeah, definitely. And that definitely from that project, just even with VIP structures, we did a number of projects with them just based off of that project. But actually a guy that was there before that I don't believe is now, we were bidding the galleries when they did the gallery renovation. And I met the guy there, and he was telling me about the project. Again, wondering like, hey, you're actually an MBE, so we exchanged information. Ended up bidding and getting the project, and it was hard because it was the first project of that size we had ever took on, and even in myself working for other people, doing that by myself, I had never done it, but I'm very, I like to be professional and make sure I'm doing things right. So we got it done. They loved us, they loved our work.
two things that I think stand out about your career that I've always heard. One I've experienced directly. When I met you, and I have to smile at this, I've never met a plumber that was more enthusiastic about getting in the trenches and getting dirty. And here you show up today in your plumbing gear. Yesterday you had an emergency, we had to reschedule the shoot. But you are literally one of the most astute businessmen that I have met. I remember walking you through the certification process and just being befuddled by the fact that I could ask you for any documentation about your company and it was at your fingertips. How has that preparedness for business led to some of the success you have now?
So yeah, definitely. I've been told a number of times, and not specifically by like an owner or whatever, but just the people that run the projects, how important the paperwork, and especially with these MBE, there's so much paperwork, work utilizations, pay apps or whatever. It's basically invoices, but they're, an invoice you can write, hey, did this, give me $100, done. But with the pay apps and lien waivers, but yeah, I like to, that's just me and I don't know what you call it, like anal retentive.
You're detailed. Like I said,
like to make sure it's right, man. I gotta have it.
Do it the first time. One of the other points you hit on was networking. And I know you've mentioned a couple of times that you've met a person that was pivotal in pointing you in direction of some work. One of the other major projects I know that we worked on together was the Veterans Project up at Syracuse University. I know that led to some other opportunities for you as well. Why don't you tell us about that experience of working on that project with Syracuse?
Okay, and that project, we actually worked with Burns Brothers, and them being the anchor because the project, the plumbing portion of the project was actually theirs. And yeah, it was a great experience. We actually, one of their main guys there, we've been talking back and forth. We actually haven't gotten together to do any other work, but we've definitely been trying, and actually got me talking with the union, which I'm kind of on the fence about, but it's just doors opening, networking. Directly how they've even with us doing the school projects, we use a lot of union labor for those projects, and just being able to call those guys up and to have guys by name that you can call their cell phone and,
They're there.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why I had you on the show, of course, and this is such an important point that you just made, in 1964, the civil rights legislation passed, giving us an opportunity to work in unions for the first time. As I repeated at the start of the show, you are the first and the only master plumber in the history of Syracuse. So you've overcome some obstacles, being the only in that field. What is some advice that you can give others that are potentially looking at the trades, and how you successfully navigate that to build your own company, and to build up your revenues, your workforce, and how you successfully been able to do that by yourself?
So to me, it's like the old adage: if you're doing what you love to do, you never work a day in your life. So I love what I do. You know what I mean? I love making sure that it's right. I love, when I was working for other people, they never really gave me a chance to run jobs, projects, but it was always something, a part of my work that I wanted to do. And I never got to do it until I got into business. And it's hard sometimes. Believe me, the emergency that I had yesterday, it wasn't really like, a leaky faucet. It was because we actually screwed up some paperwork, but whatever, it's part of the business. But I would say to anybody, for one, especially another black man or woman, don't immediately take offense or look at anything negative that happens as racism. Try to always be positive and just be moving forward towards your goal, whether it be to be the biggest or just to be comfortable doing what you do, being able to live the lifestyle that you want to live, because that's what your business is basically for in the first place, to financially secure you in the lifestyle that you're trying to live.
Absolutely. NaDonte, I know that you've served as an inspiration for me. I've watched you. Again, we grew up in some of the same neighborhoods, some of the same conditions, and I've watched you build this successful company. What is some things that you can share and you wish to inspire other entrepreneurs to reach where your company is now?
Well, I mean, if you aspire to be in business and whether it be the trades or otherwise, just make sure you're doing it right. Don't cut corners or stuff like that, because it's really not worth it. The biggest thing is it's very fulfilling, you know, to know that when you do get to a certain point and have accomplished, like I look at a few different people who work for me and how when they started, you know what I mean, where they was at and where they at now, like having, and actually, my cousin worked for me for a little while and he actually passed year before last. But I mean, he actually was an ex-felon. He came home, worked for me almost from day one. I, you know, gave him some credit, repair advice, which he took, ran with, bought himself and his family a new house, you know what I mean? And was just really on the road to, you know, being a legit, you know, like, I don't know what the hell they would call it, reconditioned citizen or whatever. You know what I mean? And I had a hand in that. You know what I mean? That was beautiful to me. Took great pride in that. Some other people where, you know, they just was about to get kicked out and this, that, and the third, and now, you know, they're doing so good. They was able to go and, you know, be able to finance a vehicle, or also help them, talk to them about repairing their credit and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can affect your surroundings and the people around you. You know what I mean? Being in business and giving people those opportunities.
Are you prepared to accept your role in this community as a role model? Do you understand what you mean, the significance of what you've accomplished and who you are now?
So, and I say this all the time, but on the side of my truck, it says humble, patient, integrity. So, you know, I try, I'm not all the time, but I try to be as humble as possible. And a lot of times I really don't even want it, because I want to stay in that light of just, you know, not being too prideful, you know. But yes, I see it coming, and a lot of people tell me all the time, and I'm very appreciative. But it's wild, it's surreal.
It's you know, if there is one thing that I can say remains consistent about you from the moment I met you when you walked in the doors at home headquarters and talked about being certified, this has always been you. Nothing has changed about you in the 7 years that I've known you. You've always shied away from publicity. You simply wanted to work. The second thing that I know about you, literally every time I talk to you about work, you're smiling. I have never met a plumber more happy to be dirty and in the trenches and working than I have you. Do you think that plays a part in the success of your business?
For sure. Because I mean, like I said, if you have no real interest or delight in what you do, then you're not really gonna be wanting to do it. When you go home, you're gonna go home to be home to do whatever you else is going on in your life, or working on whatever you really do want to do, whether it be another business or socially or whatever. You know what I mean? Me, when I go home, I'm still thinking and probably doing, and my fiance tries to choke me every time I do it, but if she checks me, that I'm still working. I'm still checking emails, making sure paperwork is here and there, and where it need to be, doing estimates, all types of stuff. So, you know, every day, all day, I'm doing what I love to do.
And I absolutely think so. Again, that passion comes across every single time that I've spoken to you. Again, I'm tremendously proud of the work that you're doing, the history that you've established, again, with being the first and the only black plumber that we have in the city and Onondaga County, period. Let's talk about some ways people can get in touch with you. How can they reach NJ Jones Plumbing?
By the website, njjonesplumbingllc.com. We have a Facebook site or page or whatever. Email njjonesplumbing@gmail.com. By phone, 315-378-3143.
And most importantly, because I know a lot of people are going to ask this question, I get it all the time, residential and commercial. Explain the difference, because I have people that reach out to me all the time for residential work, and I know you're quite busy with some of your commercial work. Explain the difference for us.
All right, so basically the difference is residential is residence, somewhere you live. So if it's somewhere where, you know, it's a homeowner, whether it be reconstruct or remodeling, construction, service, you know, you got a leak or backed up toilet or something. We don't do a lot of that work, but I actually just hired a couple guys to do that work specifically. So we're not, because that's, you know, my connection to the community. You know what I mean? I don't want to, every time somebody calls me and tell them I can't do that work for them, that I'm only dealing with these bigger people. And I don't want to forget the little guy, you know what I mean? Because I've been that guy. So, you know, we do have a service department, and that's what the residential is. It's the service. It's working on houses, basically, that people actually live in. The construction side would still be residential to a point, but, you know, multi-family or like right now we're doing St. Anthony's, which it's the old school. They're turning into 54 apartments for old folks. So, but then the commercial side, like I said, is restaurants, businesses, those things would be more commercial. Okay,
so on a recap, a few things that I'd like to talk about. You spoke about when you got started, there was you and one other employee. You're up to 25 now. You're up to 5 or 6 vehicles that you have. Exponential growth in terms of your revenues. As a reminder, I remember when you sent me the first text that told me when you had reached your first $1 million in revenues, and we celebrated that. You're now in the multi-millions in revenues, and I only mention that to inspire our audience to understand, for those who are interested in trades and who think that you'll never be successful in trades or be able to run a kind of business to reach multi-million dollars in revenues, you're a perfect living example for that. Expand on that for me.
I mean, there is more work. I could double what I'm doing right now. Wow. If I had the management team and actual skilled labor. So like you're saying, get into this business. Yes, definitely get into this business, because there's not enough of us right now. I have guys right now that I hired that I would never have paid them what I'm paying them, because I'm only paying them that because I don't have that many options. So, you know, that's just a testament to what's out there. It's definitely money in this.
Well, this was incredibly enlightening for me. I want to say thank you again for stopping by. It's important. It's Black History Month that we talk about some historical living figures that are ongoing now. For our audience, again, this is NaDonte Jones of NJ Jones Plumbing. You're looking at living history. Thank you for taking the time to come out today. And again, serving as an inspiration for our community and being a role model. And again, historic, living, breathing Black history. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Not a problem, man.
All right.